good day, viewers. I am Tomi Daniel, as you all know, and you're welcome to another episode of Tomi Talks Legal. Today we'll be discussing what do landlords need to look out for when renting out their properties to a tenant. But before we get along, I would like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the like button, and share generously with your audience. So oftentimes I've seen clients come around to me and tell me how they need to evict a tenant because the tenant is not paying regularly, or the tenant is not following the terms and conditions of contract, and the tenant now becomes like a burden to this landlord. So these are the checks that a landlord needs to tick when bringing or when allowing or when a new tenant is bidding, quote unquote, for their properties. Now, beyond getting the personal details of your prospective tenants, it is paramount for you to make some certain investigations or verifications about your tenants. There are situations whereby people have brought in fraudsters into their apartments, into their properties, and they have been directly or indirectly liable for lack of due diligence, which should have been done upon the entry of such tenants into their property. So what are the things you need to do beyond getting the personal details of the tenants or of your prospective tenants? First of all, get their means of identification, their national means of identification, whether their driver's license, whether their international passport or national identification card. Make sure that you have a means of identification, a national means of identification for such tenants. Number two, verify their place of work. Where does this person work? For how long has this person been working with that organization? Now, beyond knowing where this person works or how long this person has been working or that prospective tenant has been working with that organization, ensure that you get a copy of their working ID card or the organizational ID card that they work with. Now, after getting the organizational ID card, ensure that you also ask for a reference letter from their employers. Now, we've seen situations whereby personally people can decide to do their a working ID card or an official ID card for themselves because of the situation of the country, but go a step ahead to ask for a reference letter. Even when it is possible for this person to get a reference letter, quote and unquote, to go as far as, okay, let me get a reference letter by myself or doctor a reference letter. Ensure that beyond asking for that employment reference letter, you should also be able or possibly ask for the employment letter. Now, if there is no employment letter but there is a reference letter, make sure that you verify that reference letter or that organization that they work with. Be sure that they actually work with that organization. Now, these processes may look cumbersome because of the details involved or the work involved, but it is important that a landlord should put these checks in place, as this will save them heartaches in the future. Not even heartaches alone, it could also save them from an impending police case. So it is important that you verify their place of work. Now, what else do you need to verify as a landlord that will save you from future heartaches? Maybe future heartaches of non-payment of rent, tenants refusing to vacate your premises despite several notices, or having taking them to court. You now have to go through the process of taking them to court to get them evicted. How do you actually curb these things to the barest minimum? How do you curb this situation to the barest minimum? make inquiries. Now, the second inquiries you will need to, or the third rather, inquiries you will need to make is to ask for their previous place of abode. What is their previous residential address? Now, beyond them telling you, oh, I live in, or I used to live in so apartment, or I used to live in so place, ensure that you verify. Now, what will the verification entail? Find out why they're living or vacating their previous residential area or residential premises. If the reason is justifiable to you as the tenant, you have the discretion to either allow or disallow such persons or such prospective tenants from your premises. What other things do you need to also look out for as a landlord when renting out your property? Find out the number of persons that will be living within that premises or living in the apartment. A lot of landlords find themselves in terrible situations whereby one person comes to rent an apartment, and before they know it, several persons are already within that property, or you find out the situation whereby they actually sublet that apartment to another person. So when allowing someone in your premises, when renting out your property, find out the number of persons to be living in the property. If the prospective tenant comes and tells you, oh, I am a married man and I have a wife, find out the number of kids they have. Find out how many maids they intend to bring into the property. This will also make you know whether your property or that apartment have the capacity to accommodate such number of persons. Now, while getting their personal details, ensure that the detail of, if they're a couple, ensure that the detail of the man and the woman is on the tenancy agreement. This will save you a lot of trouble later on. So if it happens that the man rents the property and something happens, is no longer available, you have the woman to stand in. So there is no way, you can never underestimate the power of a properly drafted agreement. So find out the number of persons to be sure that your property has the capacity to bear that number of persons within that vicinity. If it's a single person, find out how many of your friends are coming to live with you. Do you have siblings who you intend to bring in? Do you have parents you intend to bring in? Find out. It would help you as a landlord to know, to exercise proper discretion whether to allow such persons into your premises or not. Another last thing I would like to emphasize on: ensure that you prepare a tenancy agreement. More than a tenancy agreement protecting a tenant, the tenancy agreement actually protects the landlord or the owner of the property more, because your terms and conditions are well stated. If peradventure you have to go before a court of law, your tenancy agreement speaks for you. So what are the terms and conditions that are paramount for you to include in your tenancy agreement, or that should be in your tenancy agreement? The duration of your tenancy agreement must be clearly stated, and it is safer for your tenancy agreement to have a duration or a fixed term of 1 year. So if for 1 year your tenant does well, there is an option of renewal. But if this person does not do well, it means that their tenancy would expire at the efflution of time. So you as a landlord, you are more protected. What other things do you need to include? Include the number of persons. Include every terms and conditions that you feel are suitable for you to work with your tenants. Ensure also that you do a guarantors form. You can never be too sure. You can never be too safe as a landlord when it comes to making every form of legality, making every form of documentation right. Get a guarantor. Have a guarantors form. give your tenant, your prospective tenant, a guarantors form. Let someone be available, someone reputable be available to guarantee the character, to guarantee the payment of your rent in situations whereby unexpected events happen. Now, peradventure you feel, oh, these conditions are cumbersome, these processes, it's not possible for me to, or for you as a landlord to be able to fulfill them by the books. Get the services of a lawyer or a property management company to do the needful for you. It saves you a lot of headache, it saves you a lot of heartache, it saves you a lot of work. And if this video has been very insightful, once again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the like button, and share generously with the audience. If you have any questions, comments, or observations to make, please go to the comment sections as we will be waiting for you. Thank you.